post say?
That bitch was tight.
Oh, just too
Was it good? Good, great. Do you have any plans?
Hello, everybody. Excited Utterance here, and I have my cat Sarah, and I got to play my opening music. I haven't played that in so long. Yes, and we can get our fire Ds out and everything, members. It's been ages. It's been so long since we've done a Gypsy stream. I know. But we couldn't stay away. We couldn't stay away because there is a lawsuit. And you know, we like all the legal things here. And we got a little bit bored of Gypsy. Gypsy was just, you know, doing a thing and divorcing her husband and getting a new one and all that kind of stuff. So we got a bit bored with her. And we did a bit of Nick stuff. We decided that we were on Nick's side and we did some Nick streams, and then we got a bit bored with that. And we sort of gave up on the whole Gypsy Nick thing. But now we're back interested again because it looks like she's headed back to court. But did she go to the right court? Dear me, Gypsy. Dear me. Come on now. Now, no, she's not divorced yet, Silnat. Hello, Silnat. It's good to see you. Hello. Hi, Silnat. Oh. Dangy, you, why are you waving that around on stream? Waving what around? Oh, my kitty cat. Hello. Yes. So we're waiting on our guest. Our guest is running a bit late, it seems, but that's okay. We have plenty to cover whilst she is on her way. Never mind. And let me bring in my co-host. Hello. Hi, darling. How are you?
good. How are you?
He's looking at you.
Aw.
Hello.
Hey,
Sheriff is so bloody handsome. Yes, of course, darling's coming. Hey, AG. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, my goodness. It's been ages. Oh, all our friends are back. So nice. No, she's not divorced yet, but look, it looks like she's already got a new husband ready to go. Ken. Good old Ken. Dropping in to say hi. Hey, Murphy Turpy. Okay. So get this. Look, I didn't think she would ever sue Fancy. I thought that she'd let it go, but the lawsuit is on. And I don't know whether or not, and like Fancy will clear this up when she gets here, but I don't know whether or not she has filed the lawsuit in the wrong state or just the wrong jurisdiction. But the case got dismissed before Fancy had to do anything. Now, Fancy is pro se. In legal terms, that means representing yourself. Now, representing yourself pro se it's tricky.
Just ask Franklin Tucker.
Yeah, so we've seen a few pro se defendants on this channel and on our travels around different channels, watching trials and things. Representing yourself is very difficult. But so far, Fancy has been a little bit lucky in that she hasn't even had to really get up and say anything because Fancy's lawyer, goodness knows who he is, but he's gone and lodged the lawsuit in the wrong jurisdiction, it seems. All right, so let's have a little bit of a look while we're waiting and have what we were going to do anyway, and that is have a look at the documents. We have the documents and we have the exhibits, everybody. So let's see what we've got. G'day, Emu Warrior. How are you? Gypsy. Is it
Gypsy.
easier or possible to get an annulment? I don't know. Yeah, wrong state. Right, there you go. Yeah, it's difficult when people are in different states and things happen in different states. In the US, especially, it's tricky. I hear because there's different rules in different states, and it's not like it's a federal case.
Yeah. Who was
So
jurisdiction and
yeah. Fancy, yeah, it's true. Hello, the missing. Fancy is never going to leave her alone. No, obviously. You're right. And welcome. Welcome. Okay. So yes, hey Yamaha biker, a new husband. Congratulations, Sal.
thank you.
Okay. So let's just have a quick looky at this. Okay. Is this working all right? Yes, it is. Okay, great. So we have the documents. Now it's in Missouri. Well, it was in Missouri. That's
Missouri.
currently because she's on parole. Correct? She's not allowed to leave Missouri, right?
Wasn't
Yeah.
there some issue where she was kicked out of Missouri or no?
Oh, that's right. Guys, help us out here.
I don't know if she is living there.
That's right. She was told to leave Missouri, wasn't she?
That's what I thought.
That was early. That was straight after she got kicked straight after she got out of prison. I don't know why she's doing it in Missouri. Anyway, yeah, she was kicked out of Missouri. You're right.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so this has been lodged in the court of Missouri, but that's the wrong place. Funny. Okay, so our dramatic reader, Mr. Daly, is going to start now.
Comes now. Plaintiff state and allege follows for their petition for injunctive relief and damages against defendant. The parties, woohoo, Gypsy Rose Alcita Anderson, still using hubby's name, Kristy Mathern Blanchard, Rod Joseph Blanchard Jr., Mia Therese Blanchard, defendant, April Johns, aka Fancy Macelli.
Yeah, that's what I thought, HC. She had to leave the state immediately. She lives in Louisiana. Exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Guys, where does Fancy live? What state does she live in? She doesn't live in Missouri, does she?
Oh, I was wondering what the reasoning was.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so yeah,
that's why, because she's not in Missouri. Like, so Gypsy's not in Missouri. Is Fancy in Missouri? Is that why? Does she think that she has to? Did all this happen in Missouri?
So Fancy's
maybe
in
that's
Kentucky?
why. Yeah, okay. Fancy. I thought she was in Kentucky. Yeah, unless she'd moved or something. But maybe a lot of these things that went on, as in the signing of the contracts, because we're going to get into that in a second. Maybe the signing of the contracts happened in Missouri. Maybe that's why Gypsy's lawyer thinks that this should all be litigated in Missouri. Who knows? Who knows? Hey, Jeanette. All I know is that the judge went, nah, not here. Don't take this.
I don't think so, Tim. So yes, let's go down basic facts. We all know the facts.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a look at this prior and we went, okay, we all know all this stuff. And we wanted to get to what it is that Ms. Gypsy Rose says that Miss Fancy has done. Let's go. Courses of action.
Plaintiffs. Go ahead. Plaintiffs restates, realleges, and incorporates herein by reference each and every allegation contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein hoc verba. 51.
Okay, can we just tell people what that means? Anyone who doesn't know?
Sure.
Hoc verba.
In these words, if you are familiar
it's
with
a Latin thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Latin. Plaintiff alleges that defendant, by and through the above referenced conduct, has engaged in the following causes of action: fraud, breach of contract, unjust enrichment, defamation, false light. Using any other court process other than injunctive relief would require plaintiffs to engage in a multiplicity of litigation. So,
Okay, I'm just talking to Fancy. Yeah, she's mixed up the times. She thinks it's in half an hour. That's okay. Cool.
no worries.
It's right. Keep going.
Defendant
Sorry,
retained documents, videos, photos, audio related to plaintiffs that she received in connection with her contractual relationship with Gypsy as a producer, including but not limited to police reports, crime scene photos, police videos, surveillance videos, court transcripts, and medical records related to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. After failing to fulfill any of the objectives of the contractual agreement and being dismissed by plaintiffs, defendant has used these materials, especially Gypsy's private, protected medical documents, to produce public content, making false and defamatory statements about each of the plaintiffs, accusing the plaintiffs of criminal behavior for which he has no reasonable basis in fact to assert, and for defendant's own personal financial gain. Okay, boy. That's quite a mouthful there.
That's quite a bit. Okay, keep going.
Defendant has threatened plaintiff Gypsy's freedom by alleging she has / will be contacting her parole officer to make changes to her parole conditions. Okay, sweetie. Defendant has openly stated she believes Gypsy should still be in prison. Dun, dun, dun. Defendant herself and by and through her agents used her previous contractual relationship with plaintiffs to posit herself as the foremost expert on Gypsy's case. She then uses the fact that she had inside access to create the illusion that she possesses information that no one else possesses, which is untrue. Good use of the semicolon. Since November of 2019 and to the greatest extent since October 2023, defendant and her agents have used their platforms to harass, abuse, and defame plaintiffs, including, but not limited to, posting plaintiffs' cell phone numbers and protected medical information online. Defendant has resisted all attempts by plaintiffs to resolve this issue.
Okay, so I just spoke to Fancy. She did get the time mixed up, but she'll be on in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay. In the meantime, hey T in chat, how are you? But Kristy gave her docs. So what? I just like to introduce you guys to Hey T. Hey T, I've known since I've started covering the Gypsy stuff, met her online. She has a great YouTube channel as well. And Hey T, would you like a link? I think I might have sent you one already. You're welcome to join us whenever you'd like. You can give us a little bit more insight into what's going on. You're dropping some great facts there in chat. As we go through these documents, you're welcome to join us whenever you'd like on stream. And I just had a little talk to Fancy, and she says that she knows you, and it should be cool to meet with you too. So yeah, you'll join now. Fantastic, awesome. Let's keep going.
Count uno, temporary restraining order. Plaintiffs restates, realeges, and incorporates herein by reference each and every allegation contained in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein in haec verba, which means in these words.
In these words.
Defendant John / Macelli Fancy caused and continues to cause immediate irreparable harm to plaintiffs. Pursuant to the agreements between plaintiffs and defendant, Defendant Fancy was provided with sensitive and private protected records, photos, documents, videos, etc. from plaintiffs of all the dramatic things I've ever seen, as evidenced by Defendant Fancy's conduct and the conduct of her agents/associates. Fancy misrepresented her abilities and expertise related to her ownership of Mad Ginger Entertainment. Unbeknownst to plaintiffs who have no experience in the entertainment industry, Defendant Fancy never possessed the requisite skills or expertise to perform the terms of the agreement.
Oh, you don't know that.
Yeah, that's kind of piling it on a bit there, sweetie.
Hmm.
After providing defendant with years of exclusive access to Gypsy, that could have been phrased better. I'm just saying.
Access to Gypsy.
Exclusive access to Gypsy.
No one's got exclusive access to Gypsy.
Definitely not her ex-husband.
Mm-mm.
God, that.
Would anyone really want exclusive access
Yeah,
to
that too.
Gypsy? Okay, here we go. Hello. Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Sorry, I had to turn that off.
Oh, no worries. So, yes, this is
Nice to meet
Haiti.
you.
Join us. Yes.
You too.
So, you've been following along?
Yep.
So, Haiti, I would just like to say welcome. We've been following you for a while. You've got your own channel, and we'll pop that into chat in a second. I think you might be one of the very few people who is still able to follow Gypsy on her Instagram or TikTok. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do. She actually commented to me twice today on TikTok, telling me I got information wrong.
Oh.
Right. So you're buddies.
Apparently, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Think you can get her to stream with us?
Imagine.
Is she going to sue you next, do you think?
Who knows? I think Nina will be next, if anything.
Who's that? Sorry?
She's on TikTok. She covers her a lot, like Nina, beauty influencer or something like that.
Nina. Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard of Nina.
Yeah.
So you're getting. I've seen that you're getting under her skin a little bit. Are you?
Apparently, she must like sit online and search herself all day, I guess, because I don't know how she found my thing. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Okay. So, but yet she still hasn't blocked you. She's still letting you see her stuff.
Yeah, she blocked me for like less than 12 hours and then she unblocked me like a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
She
It's very
unblocked?
unusual.
Very strange.
Wow.
Yeah. But maybe she likes the fact that you are taking her content and like boxing it up in a nice little package and putting it out there.
Maybe.
So-
I guess it does get her more attention.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Very
I think
true.
there is like she doesn't so much like having millions of followers anymore. Like she likes having a small amount of people and she knows who they are and she can sort of curate the content.
Exactly. Yeah.
To a degree. Yeah. And if one of them goes really rogue, then she'll get rid of them and maybe sue them.
Exactly.
But wow, very interesting, Haiti. So Haiti is I won't say expert because we can't say expert, can we? No, we might get in trouble.
Apparently.
But yeah, well, even Fancy's getting in trouble for that. But
Yeah.
Haiti knows a lot about all this. So it's great to have you on stream and we'll continue with this, but definitely it's awesome to have somebody who knows a lot of the backstory. Snivels, thank you. Snivels.
10 memberships.
Snivels with the 10 memberships.
Wow.
That's
Thank you so much.
amazing. Thank you so much. And who would like
Very
would
generous.
you like to read out those names? Do you
I
have
would.
access to that?
Flawless Mom, Chinny, Amity, Queen Olive, Ruthann, Ed, Keen, Emma Lemery, Valhalla awaits. Trina, Justeel Kuhn, Chell Marie _337 was gifted a membership by Snivels.
Thank you, Snivels.
Thank you so
Snivels
much.
is just a wonderful, wonderful
He is.
member and contributor to the channel, and always love having Snivels, so I can say Snivels. And 10 gifted memberships. That's huge. Thank you so much. What a lovely contribution.
Yeah, Valhalla's bumming your gifts again.
Yeah. Valhalla's always around bumming gifts. So thank you. All right, let's get back to it.
Right.
Where was I? Where is this? There we go. Cool. Lovely.
Let's see.
Philo's mum, besides boy crack, what is Gypsy doing these days?
Cray.
Not much. So, KT could tell us, what does she do all day? Goodness knows.
Get divorced.
She just sits around, doesn't she? She shops and goodness.
Living her
knows.
best life.
She's living her best life, everybody. Get your fire Ds out.
I know.
If
You're
you're
going to bring me down.
If you're a new member, check out the emojis because we have a fire D.
Yes. And apparently the D was not fire.
Not fire. There we go. Cool. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Did you hear me? I don't know if you heard me or not.
No.
No. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry. I just said a whole thing.
Were you muted?
Oh, I guess so. Sorry. I think that she's living with Dan, but like doesn't want people to know because she'll get in trouble with her parole officer. I mean, not with Dan, with Ken, because like she's referred to their fridge as like our fridge. She said like our wall, but she has to live with a family member technically. So I think that she doesn't want her PO to find out, but I think she's more or less living with Ken.
Goodness me.
Well, hopefully he's not a food hoarder.
I mean, I'm not positive, but oh my God, did you see yesterday? She did a tour of their fridge. It was like, oh my God.
Ken?
No, I didn't see the tour of the fridge.
Yeah, she did a tour of her and Ryan, her and Ken's fridge. Like, way to mock Ryan.
Wow.
Right? She was like, look how neat it is.
Wasn't there some politicians that were doing videos about how they lived during COVID and like they had 2 refrigerators full of ice cream?
Wow.
That's how they got through the pandemic.
Well, I mean, ice cream is great, so.
Yeah.
All right, what else?
Following termination of their contractual relationship, Fancy proceeded to create the public perception that because she had inside access to the people and personal access to these private documents, that she alone possessed the only full understanding of Gypsy's case. In creating this perception, she made false statements regarding people and situations to create a public perception that plaintiffs are attempting to silence her because she alone knows what they are doing. Defendants, knowing these statements are false, is uttering the defamatory statements to punish the plaintiffs for termination their contractual relationship with her and to create buzz for her content and drive viewers and subscribers, thereby increasing her monetization. Period. Defendant.
Well, that's kind of what you do.
Like, I mean, we are kind of whores at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, content creators, that's what they do, like they try and get more monetization and subscribers. That's what you do.
Yep.
That's I have a problem with people saying that, like it's all about the money and the subscribers and the monetization. Like content creators have to make a living too. So,
seriously.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So like I make about enough to cover my utility bill. That's about it. It's not very much. And yeah, for people to have a go at content creators for making money, really, I mean, unless you've got like 500,000 subscribers and you're getting like really, really serious views, you're not a millionaire. Like you're really not.
Yeah.
Like, works harder than
and you're begging, like you're literally begging. You're like, please like and subscribe, please.
I'll drink.
Please that.
Give me alcohol.
It's really
I'll
hard.
drink for alcohol, or I'll drink for money.
And
Drink
it's a
for
lot of
money.
work too. It's not like easy, like editing things and stuff. It takes time,
It's
you know.
It's a
Like
ton of
Hella
work.
spends like 10 to 12 hours, I'd say, for her hearsay streams every week.
Wow.
Yeah, my Sunday stream.
Just for one
That's
stream.
dedication.
She's the
Yeah,
hardest
it's a lot
worker.
of work.
Like, I know. So
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So, I mean, now there are some unscrupulous content creators, definitely, 100%,
Yeah.
no question, a lot.
most.
But if you can't make any money, and even a little bit, without being called out for it, and just like, oh, it's all about the money, then I just think that's really wrong.
Yeah, seriously, I agree.
Okay, go on.
Okay,
Sorry, where
back
were
to
you at?
Gypsy.
Back to Gypsy.
Defendant has been repeatedly warned by agents/associates who have worked with her, who have worked closely with her, that her conduct is defamatory and illegal. Several former agents/associates have severed all ties with Fancy to avoid potential liability for her continued behavior. In the video posted on February 28th, 2024, year of our Lord, the co-host attempts to temper an allegation put forth by Macelli, or Fancy, by saying, I wouldn't go that far. Fancy immediately doubles down and reaffirms what she said was from a reliable source, and she believes it because she knows Kristy is a pill popper.
Pill pooper.
Well, I don't know. She could be that.
Thank you, P. Lola's mum. You are so sweet. You are so sweet. Towards your millions being a great creator. Oh, thank you. I will put that $1.99 towards my millions. And you know what? I will remember this $1.99 when I'm a millionaire. It'll happen one day.
One day.
And you are just a wonderful supporter. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. And also, Bobby, I love when people say so-and-so is a grifter, like they're out here looking for Jesus. Yeah, right. I know, right? It's funny. It's funny.
And can I just say, I'm really disappointed that the stream we did with Fancy wasn't mentioned in here.
I know. We didn't get a mention. We didn't get a mention in Gypsy's lawsuit. What the?
Seriously. Like, I am so angry.
I
First,
know.
Franklin Tucker has a motion for him to stop, and they don't mention us being on the YouTube stream.
I know. Like, we have a that's right. We have a guy who is indicted for murder, and he had a gag order put forth by the state. He came on our stream several times, and yet we didn't get a mention.
Yep.
And now we have Fancy being sued by Gypsy Rose, and yet we didn't get a mention. Goodness me.
Who are we going to have to defame who do we have to defame to get a mention?
I know.
You have to say that you're the leading expert.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Damn. Damn. Here I am all the way over in Australia thinking I'm untouchable, and I just want someone to mention me in a lawsuit. Oh, well, you know, she's lovely though. Okay, so oh my god, you need to mention, dang, get that lawyer on the phone. Who is this lawyer? Actually, no, Fancy's going to tell us all about the lawyer. I believe she had a run-in with the lawyer.
Yeah, she did. I heard about it.
Hotel.
Yeah, Sarah did.
Yeah, apparently. Tongue lash me you. Oh, I know you'd love that. Anyway, keep going.
Plaintiffs are requesting this court enter a temporary restraining order enjoining defendant Fancy and her officers, agents, servants, and employees and attorneys from, does it include us, further producing or uttering public content, and remove current public content referencing herself as an expert or having any type of special knowledge or insight into Gypsy or her family, her past, her criminal case, or her future due to her access to plaintiffs and or the material she received in connection to her contractual relationship with plaintiffs. Immediately remove and refrain from making or producing public content, including, but not limited to, Does that mean OnlyFans or no? Okay. But not limited to digital, written, video, audio accusing the plaintiffs of harassing, stalking, or threatening defendant. Immediately remove and refrain from making or producing future public content, including but not limited to digital, written, video, audio accusing the plaintiffs of encouraging others to harass, stalk, or threaten defendant. Posting any further documents, video, photos related, blah, 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 blah.
Have we had any exhibits mentioned?
Not yet.
Yeah.
We can go down to that. I think that was earlier. Wait, let me see.
Because we have the exhibits.
Good Lord, this took a lot of hours.
This would have cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Some schlum paralegal to whip it out.
Yeah, all for it to be dismissed.
Someone's here. Hello. Let's go. Oh, Fancy's here.
Hey,
Hello,
Fancy.
everybody. Hi, Haiti.
Hey.
How are
Hey.
you?
Hi. Hang on just a second. I'll just rearrange the screens a little bit. So is Sarah coming?
She's taking out her dog right now, but yes, after
That's
that she will
cool.
be here. Yeah.
Cool. When she gets here, she'll be very welcome. Hang on a second. I'm just moving things around. Boop. Here is Haiti. I don't know if you've met Haiti before.
I've
Hey.
not met her before, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's so great to see you again, Fancy.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. So glad to see you guys.
Yes.
Oh man, it's been a big week.
It has.
Yes.
It's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's been a very interesting week. No, I was
You're still
working,
in
guys.
Missouri, right?
Yeah, we're still here. We're gonna be we're leaving Chillicothe tomorrow, and then we're gonna drive halfway through to somewhere and stop, and then Sunday we'll be back. I'll be back home.
Yeah, that's a long
That's
drive.
It's a very long drive. It took us, we left our house on Tuesday. We left at 3 p.m. We did not get in till almost 6 in the
Jeez.
morning.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, it's a 10-hour and 30-minute drive if you drive straight through. But who's driving straight through?
Yeah, you got to stop.
You got to
Yeah.
stop. You got to eat. You got to pee. You got to get drinks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it took forever. Thank you. I thank you. It's hot here today. I went down to the downtown to there's these beautiful murals here that is painted by this local artist. There's like 37 of them in downtown Chillicothe. And so
That's
we were
cool.
taking some of those pictures for that. But anyway,
That's nice.
yeah. And I guess this is the home of sliced bread, guys. So I guess they're the best place since Betty White.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, they've got like this huge bread slicer. And so we did the museum and all of that today.
Huge bread slicer.
Yeah, they're the home of sliced bread. I'm serious. And it's really funny because I call him up and I'm like, we'd like to come through and do a tour, and I'm thinking just bread. I don't think that there's going to be a whole thing, but this is like the historical society. So it was like really cool. But he's like, well, there's one caveat. You can film anything you want except for the bread machine. I was like, well,
Top secret bread
okay.
machine.
And he's like, no, I'm serious. We have to cover it up. It's the largest bread slicer in the world, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh,
Don't
okay.
want somebody
Like-
stealing that technique or that's
Yeah,
proprietary.
It was like really funny to me. And so when we got there, they have like this like partition that they put around it, and it talks all about it, but you cannot take a picture of it. So
Wow.
I just thought it was really funny. But yeah, that's what we did.
All right. So can you, because we were just going through the documents, and so we went through the causes of action.
Yeah.
There's 5 causes of action. Actually, Dali,
Mhm.
There's 7 counts altogether.
7 counts altogether. Okay.
Yeah.
So would you mind just giving us a little bit of a breakdown, please, of what exactly she's suing you for, and whether or not, so you're going pro se, right? So how you're going to defend this lawsuit.
Well, I mean,
if you
okay.
wouldn't, And unless you don't
Yeah.
want to talk about
No,
it, you're
I'm
welcome
not
to.
going to talk about all of my defense strategy, but I can talk about this
Sure.
specifically. So,
Of
okay,
course,
so
yeah.
this has 7 counts, basically all revolving around the fact that they're saying that I misrepresented myself to them. I promised them tons of money. I told them I could do all of this, which is incorrect. If you read the contract, I literally say in there, I'm under no obligation to create anything because I don't know whether I can or cannot make a project get sold or not. Like, this is how Hollywood works. This is a standard life
Wow.
rights agreement that they signed. It's not
Yes.
something that I
Good.
freaking just pulled out of my butthole, like that didn't happen that way. This is a real contract.
So you
And in
covered
that
your ass for the
contract,
contract.
yeah, in that contract, it was really more for them than anything else, because what it was telling them was I was promising them anything of half of my compensation, not like their own. Like, I couldn't tell them what their deals would be if we
Sure.
made a show. So when I went down there, the only thing I offered them was, I can't tell you what they will offer you personally or not. The only thing I can tell you is that I make a project and I get paid, I will give you half of what I am given, unless you make another agreement with them for your own deal, which is what would normally happen. If we were to go to production and I was still working with them, then they would then enter into their own agreement to be compensated by the production, not from me.
Right.
So then that would have negated this this portion of the contract. But in that contract also, there is an arbitration clause, which states that if either one of the parties is upset about this contract, that instead of going to court, we are supposed to go to arbitration first. And we made sure that, the cost of going to arbitration was on each party. It was not going to be paid out by the other party, none of that. So we had
That
all
all
of
sounds
that
very
detail.
fair.
It's very fair. It's, like I said, standard life rights agreement. And the
Yeah.
only thing that I was getting out of this is the promise that they would tell me the truth, that they would provide me things that they hadn't provided every single other person on the planet. And, that I would have this inside conversations with them. That's their whole big thing, is this inside information that they keep saying that I say is exclusive. Well, it is exclusive, considering that they're conversations with myself over 8 years. That is exclusive to me. No one else has those conversations between me and
Yeah.
them. And so basically this boils down to, they don't want me to call myself the leading expert anymore. That's part of their claim. They want to not be able to take that out. I'm not allowed to say that anymore, according to them. I have to take any content down that I've ever said it in, which I guess A&E would then need to be contacted to have me taken out of there, because they're the ones who named me the leading expert in the first place. But hey, so I can't say that. And then on top of that, they're basically alleging that I lied. I falsified these documents. I lied about my ability to get this project done. I was not acting in good faith, and that in the 2 years that I worked with them, I never made a viable project. But then they come back and say that I did make projects and I have been paid according to them, which is really funny, because I'd sure love to have my bank account where that money is, because I don't have it. But they want to be paid for the things that I have made money on. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did I make something of value that you want to be paid for? Or did I do nothing and I'm a complete fraud? Which one is it? You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
So this is basically what it boils down to, is they want to be paid and they don't want me to be called the leading expert. And they say that I'm lying about them and that I can't do that anymore.
It's all about the money.
None of that is true. It's all about
Yeah.
the money. It's all about the Benjamins. That's all this is about. They gave me less than 24 hours to get to Missouri. I would not have known had it not been for social media. And
I know. I think that's so crazy.
Yeah. So it's a crazy story. I mean, we find out via the internet on Saturday that I have been it's on CaseNet. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I have not been served. I don't know anything about this. No, there's no court case. What are you talking about? People are coming on my page going, have you seen the video Nina put out about you being served? And I said, that's from March. What are you talking about? No. And so then I saw it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And so I got my team and I together and we started looking at CaseNet. And I'm like, guys, I think this is a real court case, because Nina was alleging that it was in freaking Louisiana. And I was like, what is going on? So we went and we found it, and I immediately on Monday morning, I contacted the county clerk and I was like, look, I believe there's a lawsuit pending against me and I have no idea about it. Could you please give me some information? And of course she was like, well, I really can't give that out over the phone. I'm like, ma'am, I live in another freaking state. I'm being sued in your state. I have to have some information given to me. I don't have an attorney of record. I am my attorney of record at this point. So you have to give me something. And so she finally looks it up, and I got the clerk to look it up because the first girl wasn't going to look it up. So she transfers me to the actual clerk. And that woman was more helpful. And she said, well, what you could do, I think, is you could write a letter to the judge, because one of the things I wanted to ask was, can I appear virtually? Because this is, it's
you
less
should be
than
able to.
2 days away, and I am 10 and a half hours away by car. I don't know I'm going to make it. Like, seriously, I don't know that I'm going to make it. And she was like, well, we can try. We can put it before the judge. So I spent all day Monday writing that out. I got it to her. She put it in front of the judge. And then at 4:30 Monday evening, I got a call from her, but I didn't get it. I was online and I didn't get the call. So Tuesday morning, I noticed that the call is there. So I call her back and I'm like, what is going on? She says, the judge says that you cannot appear through Zoom because it's a hardship on the court and we can't do this. And I said, well, what about an extension? And she's like, I don't know. You'd have to send an email in and formally ask for that. I said, ma'am, I already did that. That's the letter I sent you. It had 3 different things in there. I either dismiss it because of the venue, extend it because I need time, or 3, there was a third one. I can't remember what it was, but there were 3 different things I asked for. Oh, and could I appear by Zoom? Could I appear by Zoom? That was the third. So she says, no, there's nothing we can do. I said, so then I've still not been served. What is going to happen if I don't come? She's like, ma'am, I don't really know. And you might be able to find information to file an extension or something on our website, but I don't know. I'm like, you are the clerk of the court. How do you not know what the process is for filing a continuance in your court? I don't understand. And so I got off the phone because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, if I don't show up, they've already got a thing inside of their summons that they want my bail set at $1,000 if I'm not there. Like, and I was like, how do you even do that? How does that even happen inside of a summons like this? I have not failed to show up for anything. So what the F, right? Like, what the F? And so I called up Sarah and I was like, you know what? We're just going to have to go. I don't know what we're going to do, but will you go with me? And she was like, yes. And so I called up my husband and I was like, I think I'm going to have to drive to Missouri. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. I really do. And so, we packed all of our things. We hopped in the car and I drove to Harrisburg, Illinois to meet Sarah. And then we drove the rest of the way here. We got in at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was never served. Now, the judge said to me, when we came in, he looked very pissed off from the very second that I saw him, and he smiled at me. So I was like, I'm feeling okay about that. He smiled, like a genuine smile, so yeah. I was like, all right, maybe this is going to go okay. I was really worried because since he had forced me to come and everything, I thought maybe a backwoods deal, a good old boy network deal was being formed, Yeah. I was very suspicious. And so, so I sat there, and the first thing, he comes in and he sits down and he tells us what the case is and everything. And then, obviously, who are you? State your name for the record and what you're doing here and everything. So Mike started off, and then he got to me, and I said, Your Honor, I am April Johns, aka Francesca Macelli, and I can't even tell you what I'm doing here because I have not been served formally in this case, so I don't even know what we're doing here, sir. And he goes, well, if you were not served, then how did you know how to be here? And I said, well, I found out through a third-party online personality. He said, really? I said, yes, sir. I explained that to you in the letter that I sent you. He goes, you did. He's like, but we can all agree, though, that it's probably a good thing that you found out so you could be here today. And I said, well, yes, sir, of course. I would have just rather had to notice so that I could have prepared to be here today. And he said, I understand that. And let me explain what this hearing actually is. And I was like, thank you, because I don't know, So he said, this is actually for just the TPO portion of this. So that's the temporary protection order or temporary restraining order charge of this. And he said, and so technically they don't have to serve you because it is an emergency protective order. But with that being said, you're here, so you have a right to be able to defend yourself. So let's see what happens here. And I was like, okay, great, fine. So I just sat there. I was like, I'm just going to be quiet now. I'm not going to overtalk him. I'm not going to try to plead my case. I'm going to sit and listen.
Good.
Like, and that's really hard for me to do. We all know that, So Mike starts in, and the judge tells him he's read all of the brief and all of the evidence. And based on all of the evidence, the very first question he'd like Mike to answer is, why are you in my courtroom? And Mike was like, well, I don't know what you mean. And he said, I want to know why you think that this is the venue for this case to be heard. And Mike's like, well, I mean, because. And he's like, no. I want you to tell me why you believe this. He goes, well, we filed all of that. He goes, no. You need to tell me why you think this is my court's actual problem. And so Mike was like, right now? He's like, well, yes. He goes, well, what would you like me to argue, sir? Like, he didn't know how to be a fucking lawyer. Like,
Wow.
what would you like me to argue, sir? And the judge goes, well, I would think that maybe you would argue why we're here today. I would think. And so he goes, okay. So, well, the tort originated in Chillicothe. And I'm thinking, tort. I've heard that word before, but I'm not a lawyer, so I've got to listen for context, because we weren't allowed to have our phones, we weren't to have a laptop, nothing. So I couldn't look it up. I couldn't even bring my own evidence in. They were going to have to make a special thing for me to go downstairs and get my laptop and bring it up if I had to present any evidence, because they were like, well, didn't you print it out? I'm like, I've had less than 24 hours notice to be here. No, I did not print it out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Would you like me to connect it to a printer here, and I'll print it all out for you? But it's a lot, seriously. So, so he starts stammering through this, and he's talking about this tort and how it originated in Chillicothe, and that the crimes against Miss Blanchard happened or Miss Anderson. He would not call her Gypsy. He wouldn't call her Mrs. Blanchard. It was always Mrs. Anderson.
Wow.
The charges, the crimes happened against Mrs. Anderson while she was residing here in Chillicothe, the whole thing, right? And so he goes through this whole stumbling through this, basically this whole thing. And I'm sitting there listening, and I'm like, okay, I think I've garnered what this means. I think that they're saying that the reason that they're bringing it to this court is because the signature on Gypsy's document for the life rights was originated here while she was residing here. Okay, fine. I've got the gist of it. Well, I was already preparing in my head exactly what I was going to say back to that if he gave me the opportunity to say, what I thought and why I didn't think it should be in this court or whatever, because that was part of my brief to him, but I didn't have to. The judge began to question Mike, and he said, so I just want to make it clear. Was Miss Blanchard, did she move to Chillicothe of her own free will? And Mike was like, what? He said, well, I'm asking you, did Mrs. Anderson reside in Chillicothe? Did she move here of her own free accord?
That's great.
What'd you say, Sarah? Yeah, of her own volition. That was it. Is she here under her own, was she here under her own volition, or was she forced here, sir? She was an inmate at Chillicothe State Penitentiary or whatever for correctional center for 8 years. He goes, yes, she was. You're correct in that, sir. But again, I'd still like to ask you why you think this is my problem. And he's like, because it originated. He goes, well, here's the thing, sir. See, Miss Anderson did not reside in the city of Chillicothe. She actually resided in Springfield and Louisiana prior to that. She is not a resident of Chillicothe at any time in her stay here. She is a resident of the Chillicothe Correctional Facility, and she is being housed here by the state. We could have moved her anywhere we wanted to at any time we wanted to. She's not a resident here. She did not come here and seek residency within the city of Chillicothe. Can we all agree on that? And Mike said, well, yeah, okay, yeah. He said, then, sir, then why do you believe that we need to be hearing this in our court? And Mike tried to give him some more bullshit, and the judge goes, you know what? No, let's go through this. Look, this is not the court. He goes, well, what would be a better venue, sir? Could you suggest that? He goes, no, I cannot suggest that. I'm telling you,
work that out for yourself.
Would you like me to do your job for you?
You don't ask judges for advice. They don't give advice.
I'm so effing pissed. It wasn't even funny. And he's just like, I cannot believe that you are bothering me in this kangaroo court that you are calling here. Like, seriously. So he goes,
hey, kangaroos in Australia don't like being associated with your US justice system when it's running awry all over the place. Poor kangaroos. No kangaroos.
he says to him, all right, sir, well, in this 32-page summons, you have in here a contract that both Mrs. Anderson and Rod and Kristy Blanchard signed, correct? And he said, yes. He goes, well, see, here's the thing, though. None of these people reside here in Missouri. Miss Johns, you don't reside here in Missouri, do you? I said, no, sir, I do not. He said, okay, so none of the parties that are involved in this court case at all reside in the state of Missouri. So that is not our problem. But furthermore, isn't the contract governed by the state of California, sir? He said, yes, but it originated here. And she goes, he's like, no, it doesn't matter where it originated. The law states inside of the contract that it is governed by California law. And beyond that, sir, I do believe that Miss Johns put a arbitration clause in the contract that you signed as well, which means that you were not supposed to bring this to our court system at all, sir, unless you had gone through arbitration first. So I'm just going to tell you, all charges dismissed. This is not the correct venue. This is not the proper lawsuit to bring. And thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Miss Johns, travel safely back home. I was like,
wow.
holy fuck. I couldn't even believe it. I just turned around and I just looked at the girls and I was like, did that just happen? I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. And I just stood up and I turned around and I looked at them and I was just like all the weight of my shoulders just went off. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, Sarah burst into tears. Amber and Alora were there from the Into the Weeds podcast supporting us. And they were like, oh my God, this is so fantastic. You know, I was hoping the best outcome was a continuance. I really did not think that they were going to throw it out. I thought it was crazy that it was being brought there, but I thought, well, he obviously has some basis for this. I mean, he's a lawyer. He should know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, I try to know what I'm doing before I do things in my job that I've been doing for years and years.
Fancy,
I don't know.
Fancy, this is not over. This is not over. This is not over.
He's not a lawyer. He's not. He's
no,
not.
no. But
they're gonna
this is not over, Fancy.
Oh, it's not over.
This is not over.
No, it's not over.
They have
she
not
even
gone
announced that it's not over.
No,
she even announced to TMZ that it's not over. But here's the thing:
it's not.
I now can bring this dismissal into any court that they bring into. But there's something else that happened on Wednesday that changes this completely. And that is that my associate, Sarah, who is a reporter for the Good Wives Network, was assaulted by one of the associates from Stanfield Law.
Okay. Can we get to that in a minute, though?
Yeah.
And I definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah.
But even if, like, assuming that, like, that is pursued, even the case that's been brought forward by Gypsy,
yes,
that's a separate issue, right?
Yeah.
And
she
will pursue it, and she'll pursue it in the right jurisdiction.
She can. She's supposed to go through arbitration first, and she should do that. But she doesn't have any grounds, to be honest with you. Her grounds are bullshit. It's completely bogus. There's nothing that they put in there. The exhibits, all the exhibits that they put in there didn't even pertain to the case in many ways. They put in snapshots of my Patreon showing that I talked about all these other cases in my Patreon, when what they're alleging is that my Patreon is full of Gypsy Rose Blanchard content and only Gypsy Rose Blanchard content. Well, that's really funny. Yeah. Your screenshot shows that Edmund Kemper and Chris Watts. Where did it show Gypsy Rose? Nowhere in that screenshot that they said. They put in a 1998 case of welfare fraud that I was convicted of a misdemeanor in 1998 in there, as their proof that I am somehow a career, fraudulent scammer. Like,
that's desperate.
What are you talking about? So
I'd love for her to lose. I hope you're right, and I'd love for her to lose, right? Seriously. But I don't think it's over. Like that, they've paid a lot of money for this guy to make up all those documents.
Well, yeah, exactly. And here's the thing, though. What I'm saying is because of from what I understand, because of the assault from his associate, they can no longer use him as an attorney in a case against me because of that. He can be barred from doing that because of this. And then on top of that, we are going to the prosecuting attorney here, as well as the Bar Association, for the conduct of this law firm in their intimidation of witnesses. And if he will intimidate a witness in a case that is bogus, and there is at least 20 witnesses in the lobby seeing this happen, what does he do behind closed doors is what I would like to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so assuming that he is taken off the case because of what you're talking
Mhm.
about, what's
Mhm.
stopping her from just getting another lawyer?
Nothing is stopping her from getting another lawyer, but she has to find another lawyer that feels that they can win this case, because lawyers don't like to take cases they don't win. No matter how much money you're paying them, they don't like to take cases they can't win, because then that takes their track record, and it does not look good for them when they're pursuing other clients. So they don't take cases they don't think they can win. That's
Sure.
first and foremost. Mike did this because he's their little pet. He's their little lapdog. He was there for her release, and him and his wife stayed the night with them in the hotel room, knowing the parameters of her freaking parole, and violating them while standing there telling the court, telling the parole officer, well, I don't understand. You absolutely do understand. You are a Missouri public defender. You know the parole system here, buddy. You know that she needed to present into Louisiana within 48 hours. And you tried to pull a fast one, just like you tried to pull a fast one on me. And it didn't work for you with the parole board, and it sure as shit didn't work on you with me.
You're actually correct. I assume he can only practice law in Missouri. You're probably right. So
Now, he
she's
could
going to have to
get-
get a new lawyer anyway.
Right. Well, he could get something called a proxy lawyer, which is where he practices in one state. He brings on an attorney from that other state, and they can practice under his license in
Pro
the
hoc vice.
courtroom, as long as that attorney is of record. So they can do that. So she can still use him. But I mean, this is ridiculous.
Why would you want to now?
Then you have to pay two lawyers.
Yeah, then you have to pay two lawyers. It's just a mess. And I mean, then you have to pay for his lodging and his travel and all these different things that I mean, if they want to do it, great for them. But I mean, I don't think they have to find a judge and a lawyer who is willing to take this on now that Mike Stanfield is no longer available. So, I mean, I don't know, guys. She said she's going to continue, but I don't know.
Let's backtrack. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? What happened with
that
Mike
morning?
Stansfield? Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so we have no video footage. We have not released the video footage yet. We have sent it over to the police officer, and we are waiting for him to send it over to the prosecution attorney, and then we'll decide what we can or cannot release. I know people are asking for it. They're like, well, you didn't release it in 2 days, so we don't believe you have it. I'm like, oh my freaking Lord, do you even know how the system, the court
I saw
system
other
works?
people that were there talk about it, and they said the same exact story you did. So
Right. So yeah, we had witnesses. So, outside witnesses that don't know me very well. They've only interviewed me just like you guys have interviewed me. They don't know me that well. So yeah, okay. But here's what happened. So I came downstairs, into the lobby for the continental breakfast. I sat down with Amber from Into the Weeds podcast. We were talking, getting ready to go to court. I grabbed a bagel. I sat down. I was having it. We were drinking juice, and then all of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I can see Mike Stanfield on this side of me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Great. So I put my head down like this to try to first just be like, I don't want to deal with this. And I looked up at Amber and his associate, and we're going to call him Blue Shirt because we don't know his name. Blue Shirt is like mad dogging me. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I picked up my phone like this. I did not turn it on. I did not actually film anything. I just held it up like this. And I'm standing there still talking to Amber, blah, blah, blah. And I just hold it up like this. He's like, this is not the time or place for that. And I said, this is not the time or place for what, sir? I don't even know who you are. And he's like, that's not the time or place for you. You're trying to take pictures. And I said, I'm actually just sitting here having breakfast, and I picked up my phone. I don't know what you're talking about, but since you've mentioned it, you know what? I think I should take some pictures, because this is the attorney of record for the murderer who is happening to sue me. And I'm a little concerned that he's in my hotel room and I did not know about this. And I'm a little frightened, to be honest with you. So I'm going to step over here to the side with a great distance between me and Mr. Stanfield. And I'm going to go ahead and take some pictures of him, just in case something were to happen with me while I'm here staying in this hotel. So I did. And I'm telling you, I was, a good distance from here to the wall, right? Like this.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother him. Mike's laughing. He just laughs it off, shakes his head. They go over, they sit down. So I call Sarah because she's still upstairs, and Amber called her daughter who was still upstairs, and she's like, oh my God. We were both like, oh my God, Mike Stanfield's in the lobby. You guys need to get down here. So Sarah comes down first, and she is, she's talking to me, and she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's a reporter for the day. Not to mention she's going to be a witness if she gets called, but she's a reporter for the GWN covering this case. And so she filmed me. She asked me what I was there for. She asked Amber what she was there for. And then she turned and walked over to where Mr. Stanfield and his associate were. They were no longer having breakfast. And she said, "Hi, I'm from the media, and I would like to know if you would, or I'm from the media, I'm from the Good Wives Network, and I'd like to know if you would like to make a comment about the court case regarding Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Fancy Macelli today." Something along the lines.
Yep.
Okay, you didn't say the Good Wives Network? Okay, she didn't say it.
Okay.
She didn't say my name either, just the court case, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't hear everything she was saying. Obviously, she's far away. She said he's never met the dude, right? So he starts telling her immediately. Michael Stanfield starts telling her, "I know exactly who you are, Sarah. You're not from the media." She goes, "Yes, I am from the media." He goes, "No, you're here with Fancy." She goes, "Yes, and the Good Wives Network is a media. So I am from the media. Besides that, I have a media marketing degree and a media law degree. So pretty sure I'm from the media, sir. And I'm just asking you if you would like to make a comment. If you don't want to make a comment, fine." And so the guy then stands up, and Sarah was standing a good distance from the table as well. He stands up, and as he stands up, he brushes up against her. And you can only see the blue shirt in this time period because she's filming. So all you can see is blue shirt. And then he bumps her with his chest and tells her,
What?
back up, have some respect, back up. And she was just like, so she stumbles backwards, and then you can see his tie at that point. And she's like, "Oh my God." And I literally said right there, and I go, "That is my reporter and a lawyer from Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who is suing our network, just assaulted my reporter. I have witnesses." And so then they go over and they're like, "Well, we're going to call the police." And I was like, "Oh, no, you are not. I am going to call the police." So we walk over to the desk. They walk over to the front desk. I walk over to the front desk. I said, "Hi, I am a resident. I'm a guest here at your hotel, and my associate has just been assaulted by another guest here in your hotel. And I'd like to make a police report and a formal complaint, please." And the poor girl, she's like, "Okay, I don't know what to do." Like, she's so freaking confused. Mike looks at me and says to me, "Don't worry, Fancy. We already called the police. You're going to get to talk to them. Don't worry." And I was like, wow, okay, no reason for you to call the police, but okay, good. I'll be happy to talk to them. And then I looked down and I saw that it was 10 minutes to court. And I was like, "Oh, fuck no, you are not going to get me on contempt of court because you fucking, wrapped me up in here over talking here to the police because you assaulted my freaking associate." So I turned to the lady, the desk lady, and I said, "Hey, the police supposedly are on their way, according to Mr. Stanfield here. If they show up, please let them know that my associates and I have all gone over to the courthouse because we have a court date set here in 10 minutes. So we need to be in court. So please just let them know if they'd like a statement from us. That's where we are." And so then we drove over to the courthouse, and Shara was shaking, so we sat in the car for a few minutes for her to get, herself composed and everything. And then we see Mike and his associates outside the courthouse, and they're like high-fiving people and hugging people. And I'm like, "Oh God, this is going to be a travesty. I just know it. I'm going to go to jail today, probably. Like, this is going to be crazy. Like,
Going to jail for what?
I just know it. I didn't
Why
know,
do you think you
but
go
you know
jail?
what? I don't know, but they would have done it. They would have figured out a way. Like, that's what I felt like they were trying to do, was get me into jail by not serving me. So I would get contempt of court, whatever. And so I was like, okay. So we walk into the courthouse, and the first thing I did was tell the sheriff's office what had happened. And I said, "We need to make a report." He said, "Well, that would be the police department, and you'd have to go over there." And I said, "We already notified, the police have already been notified. To our understanding, our other associates told us that they have already been to the hotel. So we need them to come over here to talk to them." He goes, "Okay, let me call them." So he called, and he found out, he said, "They'll come over here and take your statement right after court, going upstairs to the third floor, wait outside the courtroom." So we go upstairs, and it's just a hallway. So, it's got the little benches there for you to sit on outside of the courtroom. The courtroom's in the center. Clerk of court is on one side, and the judge's chamber is on the other. Nobody's up there. Not a single soul. Not a guard. Nothing. There was a lady in the clerk of court, but she was well on the other side where she could not see anything that was happening. So then, so we're sitting there. Sarah's shaking like a leaf. I'm trying to calm her down. I'm trying to stay stealthy while freaking out myself inside, So I'm like, to show no fear, right? So then the three of them come upstairs, and I was like, oh, great. Great. So they go into the clerk of the court's office, and Mike and his female associate, they walk all the way over to the wall where we couldn't see them. But that blue shirt man decides to stand directly in the doorway of the clerk of court and continue to stare Sarah and I down, intimidating the hell out of us. So much so that I was afraid to even go to the bathroom and leave her alone because I was worried for her safety. So I go into the clerk of the court, I go around them, I go over to the clerk and I said, ma'am, I need to know where the closest restroom is, please. And, she tells me, okay, it's down on the first floor. So then I turn around and he's literally standing right there again in front of me. And I said, excuse me, could you please move? I would not want to bump you. And then I just, kind of went around it. And so I went downstairs, I come back up. So by this time, Amber and Alora have arrived, and they said the same thing. They're like, he is just standing there mad dogging us. He is intimidating the shit out of us. And I was about to go and make a complaint about it. That's when the bailiff came and got us and said, here, let's go on into the courtroom. And so the three of them go in the courtroom, the four of us go in the courtroom. And that was the only people that were in the courtroom. That was it. The clerk wasn't even in there. The bailiff was out of the room. We were standing in this courtroom and I'm like, I am in here with the freaking devil, and I am scared to death that they're going to freaking assault Sarah more, this is crazy. This guy is nuts. And so I didn't even think I should have informed the actual judge about this but I wasn't thinking, because it's this clear intimidation of witnesses. And I mean, this was intense. It was not just a small altercation. It wasn't something simple that people are trying to make it out to be. This is very serious, and he can lose his law license for this. Both of them.
Okay.
Actually.
So you have footage of this?
We do. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 37-second clip that we turned over to the police, and they got it yesterday. We are waiting for them to send it over to the prosecutor's office. We had hoped that would have been done before we left, but it was not done. So now we are going to have to come back to Chillicothe again at some point, because we're going to have to testify in court against this.
Okay. So it'll be a criminal charge of assault?
So the officer said that the charge would be assault in the 4th degree, but they did not know about the witness intimidation. So I'm informing them of that today, and I'll be letting the prosecutor know when we talk to him that we definitely want to press charges for that as well. So yes, it's criminal charges at this point.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I've never in my life. That was not on my bingo card. None of this was, but damn, that certainly wasn't. What fucking lawyer do you know literally like that? I mean, I get it. The Italian lawyers for the mafia or whatever. Yeah, you expect that. This is just some random freaking dude in Missouri, for Christ's sake. This is not we're not Johnny Cochran here, man. You are freaking a bogus shitstorm of a lawyer, and you are just not professional, not appropriate. You are absolutely a clown and a joke, and you are intimidating witnesses, and that's not okay with me. Seriously.
Yeah.
I have some. You did a TikTok actually just after this. And your co-host, is it your co-host or is it Sarah, isn't it? Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, hang on. I'll just see if I can share it.
Is it where she says
I don't know. Did she say like? What do you mean?
Well, everybody's saying that she said it was like he was going to chest bump me instead of saying he chest bumped me in that video. So everybody's like, well, did it really happen or did it not really happen? I'm like, no, it really happened. But she was fucking scared out of her mind when we recorded that freaking video, dude. Seriously, she said the word like. She already gave her statement, seriously. People are so weird.
I don't know about that. Hang on a minute. Let me just see.
Yeah. Sure. Hey, babe, can you oh, that's the one I made. Yes. I just need something to drink. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you, sweetie.
Guys, it's Fancy, and you're watching the Good Wives Network. And I just wanted to come on quickly. I did a live a few minutes ago. I will put that live up, but I wanted to come on and let everybody know
water with ice.
All charges were dismissed. The judge was not happy with him, Mr. Shanfield. He was not happy that he brought this to his courthouse. because he could not, for the life of him, figure out why this would be the venue that they would choose. He made Stanfield argue that point, and without me having to say anything, he dismissed the charges. And so no temporary restraining order, no court case, no nothing. Bye-bye. But I guarantee you it's not the last we've heard of this, because
He basically told him to take the case somewhere else.
he basically told him, we're not going to do this here. Just take that somewhere else, dude. So I'm sure they will, and I'm sure I'll have to take care of that. Whatever. That's fine. We're prepared. See you in court. Bye, guys.
Oh, I thought that was the one where you spoke about the altercation. Oh, did you take that one down?
No, there's another one. No, there's a couple
Okay, hang
videos
on.
I did. There's another one where I talk about the altercation.
Hang on.
I didn't want to talk about it yet in that one because I wanted to
Oh,
just do the,
okay.
you know, we
No, that's
won
fair enough.
our case right now, you know, so.
No, that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
I
That's
have
fair
another
enough.
one.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Yeah, let me see. I think it's probably, go down, keep going. Keep going.
You put a lot of things up.
Okay, it's probably this first one right there. That's probably it.
Hey, guys, it's Fancy, and you're watching the Good Wives Network, and we are sitting outside of the Chillicothe
This is it. Yeah.
courthouse.
Yeah, this is before we
This
went in. I
morning,
think this is before
while
we went in.
having breakfast with the In the Weeds podcast
Mhm.
at our hotel,
Mhm.
we were aghast that Mr. Stanfield was staying at the same hotel as us. So in the lobby where we were having breakfast, I was going to take a picture of him from the distance to prove that he was in my hotel in case anything happened to me, because I'm a little bit in fear for myself here. I do not feel safe. And when Sarah came down, she walked over as a member of the media. She interviewed me. She interviewed Into the Weeds podcast. And then she went over to grab a comment and ask Mike if he wanted to make a comment. His associate then stood up and proceeded to yell in Sarah's face and chest bump her and push her and made her feel very, very unsafe. Then they threatened to call the police on us and told us that they did call the police on us. So we came to the courthouse instead, and Sarah is going to go inside and she is going to file a complaint against Mr. Stanfield's associate for assault. We will be updating you as this breaks. I cannot believe the audacity that these people have. I am just in shock. Sarah, do you want to say anything, sweetheart?
I'm just still like just shaking. And Mike was like actually yelling at me, and he was like, "You're not a member of the media. You're Sarah, and you're here with Fancy."
And I know who you are.
And I said, "Yes, I am with the media, and I just wanted to give a comment." And then his friend like proceeded to like stand up, and as he was standing up, he was getting like in my face, kind of like, you know, to chest bump me. And I actually had to like stumble backwards, and I'm still shaking. And there they are outside the courthouse.
There they are outside the courthouse. So we're going to have to go inside now and file a charge.
And I don't know who all these other people
People
are,
are.
but they're all hugging each other.
He's got all kinds of people with him today. It's funny how he was able to prepare, yet I still have not been served as of 8:25 this morning. Hey guys,
Okay.
it's Fancy, and you're watching
Yeah.
the Good Wives
Okay,
Network.
okay.
And
That is
We're
the
gonna-
one where Sarah talked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And see,
Okay.
that was right afterwards. She was shaking like a leaf when I turned the camera on her. You know, I mean,
Mm.
she was in shock. And, you know, there are different types of people in this world. Now, if that had happened to me, I wouldn't have been phased in the least. I would have freaking, you know, I would have stood toe to toe with the man and been like,
Yeah,
"Dude,
I think you
fine,
would have
get the
actually.
motherfucker." Okay, but Sarah is like one of the most kind-hearted people I've ever met in my fucking life. Okay, she drives me crazy, but I love her dearly, and she's like so kind. Like, she's very soft-spoken. She's very meek. You know, she's
Just like Hella.
very sweet lady. Yes, very much like that. You know, she's a very sweet lady. She's very timid. You know, she's not got the balls that I've got. You know, like she's not going to go out there and be confrontational like I can't. You know, It takes a very strong individual to be who I am, you know, and it's hard and it's steely, you know, and I would have reacted differently. But when it happened to her, I went into like this protect fucking mode because I was like, how dare
Mother
you?
bear.
This is a member of my staff. You do not get to treat her just because you do not like me, sir, just because you do not like me and you don't want to be, you know, whatever, and you don't want to answer my questions and you want to sue me for nothing and bring a bullshit lawsuit against me. Great. But for you to attack a member of my staff for no other reason than the fact that she is my staff is fucked up. And that's not okay. And it's not right. And it's honestly criminal activity at this point. The cop was in shock. He thought he knew her.
He thought he knew her.
Yeah, she goes, the cop asked her, you've never met that guy before? And she said, no, I've never met him ever. We don't even know his name. And we still don't know his name. He's just blue shirt attorney. Yeah, but Mike, neither one. Yeah, she was talking about Mike. She'd never even met Mike before.
That's interesting. Yeah. He was probably pissed you knew to show up.
He was absolutely pissed that I showed up. I mean, absolutely. I think he didn't think I was going to make it. I'm telling you, guys, I think me being in that lobby fucking shocked the shit out of them. Like full on.
That's interesting.
They were just like, holy crap, she's here. What do we do now? Like, and I think that's what it was, because they went on defense immediately. That guy was yelling at me from the second that he saw me. And I was just like, dude, I'm just sitting here. And yes, we do have footage from the hotel that has already been collected by the police, and they have been notified. And we have a call out to the manager himself to see if they will release that footage to us as well, so that we can use it in our defense, you know, or our prosecution against them. So
Alpha Fox Adam knows a fair bit about this stuff. Going to be difficult to show witness tampering under the Missouri statute.
It's not tampering, it's intimidation. There's a difference.
Intimidation. Yeah.
Intimidation.
Correct.
Intimidation.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Absolutely.
They're very different charges. Yeah. Tampering is
absolutely.
Intimidating a witness is completely different. And that's absolutely what he was doing. And it's very clear. It's very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, hello, Donna Barkley. And I wanted to thank you for your super chat earlier. You came in late. What are we watching here? We will give you a little bit of just a second, a little bit of a background. So what we have here our wonderful guest, Miss Fancy Macelli from Good Whites Network. We also have another guest with us here today, Haiti Joyless, who's also a content creator who does a lot of stuff around Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And Gypsy Rose, if you're not aware, I'm sure you know who she is. She has decided to sue this content creator because of reasons. Would you like to tell us the reason she's suing you?
Well, like I said,
go back over that.
They're very concerned with the fact that I've called myself the leading expert in this case. That is one of their main talking points. I know. So we've been looking through this. Well, we've been looking through this thesaurus, and we came up with a couple alternatives if they would like. You know, there is the option of wizard. I don't like that one. Sarah's going to take that one, but I've actually decided on the illustrious maestro of the D.D. Blanchard murder case. I think so that's the first thing that I'm being sued for, because I call myself the leading expert. Yeah, that's their main problem with me, is that I call them the leading expert, that I call myself the leading expert. That's one of their biggest problems with me. They want all of that content removed in any way, shape, or form, anywhere I've ever said I was the leading expert at any time.
Okay. So that means deleting everything, basically.
Right. Basically, I got to delete everything. Right.
And go through everything to find it.
Right. And find it. Oh,
yeah, that would take forever.
It's going to take hours.
You're not going to. Yeah. You don't get to decide what people are called. That's not a thing. Okay. Yeah. That's not a court of law thing. Like the court's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, so then on top of that, they want to allege that I have stalked, bullied, and harassed them, and the evidence that they put out for that was the most sorry shack of shit evidence I've ever seen. They used my
evidence that they gave you.
Yeah, it's the evidence that they gave me, but it's so fucking stupid. Like, listen, here's one of the articles that they were using to say that I was harassing and stalking them, is that I put up a post right after she got out of prison that her biggest goal upon getting out of prison was to meet Taylor Swift. They didn't like I said that. Well, it's really funny because that was a
lot of
headline I
people
pulled
said that.
from TMZ. That was the actual headline I pulled from TMZ, but I'm
Yeah.
in trouble for saying it and they're not. That was one of the articles that one of the posts that they made to put up there. Beyond that, they're alleging that I have stolen materials that I never gave back to them, which is incorrect because everything I was ever given was only a copy of her medical records. They have all the originals. I did not have anything in my contract that stated that I had to return any of that information to them. And once I've seen it, it becomes my knowledge. There's nothing they can do about that.
Yeah.
They handed it over willingly. They gave them all to me. Just because you don't like what I've done with them does not mean that I have any obligation to you. In fact, the contract says I don't. I can do anything I want with this information according to the contract. And sorry, you got outplayed. I didn't mean to outplay you, but you forced me to. So that's the second thing. Then there's like, I fraudulently claimed that I was a producer who could get this properly finished. That's untrue. I promised them tons. This is in their thing. I promised them tons of money and lucrative Hollywood deals, tons of money. So they want that tons of money because
Did they say tons?
What? Yes, tons. Literally tons.
Wow.
Yeah, that's their legal word. Tons of money. Tons of money. I have basically kept them from making money. I've tarnished their reputation. Did we all forget she's a fucking murderer? I don't know how much more of a tarnished reputation you can have than that. Like, seriously. So that's basically what it all boils down to. And then it boils down to this. They say that I didn't make any viable projects. Meanwhile, I have 8 years on a YouTube channel. I have a fully produced podcast. I have 2 books in the work right now. I'm sorry, 3 books in the work right now, and a documentary series coming out. But in that time, I never produced anything, according to them, but I did. So they say that I didn't produce anything. So I'm fraudulent. But if I did produce these things that they're saying I didn't produce, they want to be paid for it. You can't have that both ways. You can't say I didn't produce anything of value and then tell me that you want to be paid for the thing that I didn't produce of value. Right. Just like Mike saying you're not part of the media because you're with Fancy. What? That
Yeah.
how do you know who you
like
are? Right. Sarah said, if I'm not part of the media, then how do you know who the hell I am? You can't have it both ways. Like, they don't want this is a huge case of I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And they're buyer's remorse. They're sour grapes because they got outfoxed. I understood what they gave me when they thought I would not, because they thought I was stupid and I was not going to be. I was going to do exactly what everyone else has done. HBO, A&E, Discovery, Lifetime. They thought I was going to do exactly what they all did, not look at anything, go by their fucking word, and just accept everything that they said as gospel. And I ain't the one, folks. That ain't me. That ain't me.
Look, this thing about the medical records. Okay, so Angelica brings this up. I would think the biggest issue would be selling a child's medical records on the internet. Is that true?
Actually, no, it's not. And in fact, what they're alleging is that we're just randomly selling her documents. First of all, I have every right to put our research documents and the documents they gave me into any type of platform I so choose as per our contract. But beyond that, I am not selling her medical records. What we provided in our Patreon account was a snapshot of some of her records that proved the chromosome deletion disorder and the muscular dystrophy portion of this case. It was our research of 8 years. It was Colleen's work that we put out there. And so what you were actually paying for is to view these records, but to view the research that comes along with those records for our documentary series and our books. We're not selling her records. We're not just out here handing out her records. That's Kristy's deal. She likes to hand them out like candy on Halloween.
Yeah, she gives them to everyone.
Out of all the thousands, and I'm telling you, there's over probably, I would say we're close to between 50,000 and 100,000 pieces of paper in her medical files. Okay. I mean, it's extensive. because you're talking about every single test result that has hundreds and hundreds of pages and everything, right? In our Patreon is a total of 270 documents. It is a 1-page, 204-page document, and an additional couple of 30 pages for the chromosome disorder. It is, that's all. We have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of records. We put out a snapshot to show you our proof and our research on our show and on this case. That's it. We're not doing anything wrong. There's no, and these medical records, I'm sorry, she alleges they're all false. So what would be the problem of putting out the medical records if they're all false? Wouldn't you want them out there so that you could accurately prove that your mother did in fact medically child abuse you? You gave them to everybody else to use. So why would you not want them put out there for the public to see? I mean, that's what you're wanting. You want the public to believe you. Then you provide proof. And here's the thing with this lawsuit, what she has done is kind of interesting, because if she gets this into a court of law for real, on the charges that she has alleged, she mentions the abuse and as well as the experts that she doesn't name, and that they agree with this diagnosis and that blah, 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 blah. Well, okay. So what that means is that opens up the court of law for me to enter every single record she has into evidence, into a public courthouse where then anyone ever can FOIA them.
Yeah.
So
Everyone
you want to
can
go do
FOIA
this
them.
with me again? Like,
Yeah.
you really want to? Because now you're opening yourself up to this. So I'm not going to explain the rest of my strategy here. I think that gives you enough idea.
No. You
You
don't
know,
need to.
I mean, seriously, you go ahead, put it into a court system. I welcome it. I told you I wanted you to sue me because I wanted to come back at you. I will absolutely countersue, and I will absolutely hip slap you with an anti-slap law. That's it. Like, seriously. Do I get the FOIAs ready? Exactly. Get all the FOIAs ready, man.
Dali's very good at FOIA. we like to do the dramatic readings on the FOIAs on this channel. Yeah. So Angelica has another question. So do you have to share profits from the book and other stuff with Gypsy?
I do not.
No.
I don't. She broke her contract, and so I do not. At the time that the contract was, yes, I would have. We had an agreement, and we would have reached an additional agreement for compensation on this book and everything. I would have had to at that point, but they broke their contract, and then they maliciously tried to destroy my career. So no, I don't owe them anything on any of that at this time. Now there may be a settlement at some point in time. I understand that. It's not like I'm just trying to be hateful to them. I offered to pay Kristy even after Gypsy put me through hell. I was still in 2019, 2020, still working a deal with Kristy to continue to pay the family. And then when I found out that she was the one who put my stalker on me officially and told them that I had, cheated on my husband and contracted an STD, and that was the beginning of the harassment for me on a daily basis for over a year. That was when I found that out. I found that out 2 years afterwards. And that was when we finally decided there was no way I could work with them at all in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with you. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want further contact from you. Leave me alone. And so they keep trying to say that it's because they severed their contract. They didn't. She did. Gypsy was the one who said she wanted out of her contract, and I willingly allowed that. I was like, absolutely. You're just doing damage anyway. So you can be let out of your contract. You will sign an NDA where you will not speak about this, and you can be let out of your contract. No fucking problem. And then it just got messier and messier. So,
well, you know what? If this does go to court, which look, Fancy, I think it will. It's got an arbitration first. And like maybe it will get sorted out there, but I don't think that she's going to give up this easily.
Oh, she's not, but I definitely believe that I can beat her in court.
Sure. We'll cover it.
Yeah,
we are still covering this one.
For sure. I want all news media to know about this because I'm willing to do interviews. Not a single one of them. They've all reported on the case. Not a single one of them has reached out to me, except for the Mirror. The Mirror reached out to me. I sent TMZ an article. I sent out a press release to everybody. I said nothing. Nope, nothing. Yeah. They have not contacted me at all. The Mirror contacted me, but did not post any of my statements from my press release. So I don't know. I don't know.
That's
well,
crazy.
I mean, share it out to the news media guys because this needs to get out there.
Yeah.
This
make
is
sure
a
that
serious
there's
case.
at least there's at least Zoom feeds of it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether there'd be cameras there, but like
Right.
at least Zoom feeds.
Hopefully.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll be there. We'll be covering it. We'll be there live.
And look out for any potential boyfriend she has.
Oh, I know.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Don't want anything to happen to you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Seriously.
And we'll get some lawyers on panel and stuff, and we'll be there.
See, there you go.
For sure.
But be careful because they're not allowed to do that if they've never. These people are so weird. Like they go on and on about Colleen never treating her, which would have been a HIPAA violation if Colleen had treated her to talk about her medical records, but Colleen did not. What Colleen did was she is an analyst and she analyzed the records just like any other freaking analyst on any other freaking, show out there ever. And people are like, that's so unethical. I'm like, what is so unethical about a medical professional looking at medical documents and telling you their professional opinion? I don't understand.
They do it every day in court.
Every day.
Unless they're like a psychiatrist, or you can't do that, like the Goldwater standard. But for just regular doctors,
diagnose her. Even if I have my degree, if I get my degree, which I should be finishing up my degree in this next year. Even if I get my degree in forensic psychology, it would qualify me to be able to diagnose her, but I cannot diagnose her unless I put her through a series of freaking tests and everything
in person and
do all of that. And I'm not going to do that. So I can't diagnose her. Can I say that she has sociopathic tendencies? Yes. Can I say that I think she's narcissistic? Hell yeah. But I'm going to get a lawyer. No, I did not intend to represent myself at all, Layla. The only reason I did was because I was given less than 24 hours notice in a state.
Oh, okay. So you're going to try and get a lawyer?
I think you should
I'm going to retain a lawyer.
I think you should get a lawyer, even though you did pretty well for pro se. But you should get a lawyer.
Sure.
I'm not saying don't.
Right.
I'm not saying don't. Just you need a lawyer.
No. I totally. I'm not like an arrogant asshole who just thinks, oh, I'm a lawyer now and I can do this. No, that's not me. I'm going to go to law school. That's different. But right now I'm not a lawyer, and the person that loses the fastest in the court case is a person who represents themselves. I don't know the laws. I don't know the statutes. I don't know exactly what motion to argue. That's why I consulted legal counsel. She's not a lawyer. She is a legal counsel that helped me draft, what was I going to say? Because I was like, dude, I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to even respond to this. Like when Colleen got her little thing from the nursing board and, that thing where they're trying to take her nursing license away for this and reported her for this. And that was outside random people, not the Blanchards by the way. I was jumping to action. I wrote a 7-page freaking letter back to her. I knew how to do that. I was like, oh, I know how to do this. I can respond to this, but go in court and represent myself in a court of law where I got to talk about statutes and no, thank you. No. Yeah. No, I don't.
Let me just say, like, the reason we're giggling is we've had a few pro se defendants on this channel. Like we've watched quite a few. We've had some guests and things like that.
Florida.
We have a particular pro se defendant in Florida who's representing himself in his own murder trial, and his own murder trial.
And he got a hung jury the first time.
He managed to get himself a hung jury, and that's a huge deal.
That's huge.
But it's a huge deal, and he did very well. But then the prosecution came back after him, so now he is heading for another trial. He's in jail, heading for another trial. So really, it's not something that you do if you can avoid it any way.
If you could avoid it at any cost, that was the first thing I was going to do. I was going to ask the court for a continuance, so that I could retain proper legal counsel to defend myself.
Absolutely.
I didn't have to do that. And so when I was sitting there listening to him say, the tort originated here and all this stuff. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to say back? Right. What do I say if the judge asks me this? And I started thinking to myself, tort must mean the agreement because they're talking about it being signed. So that's got to be the agreement. All right, fine. So I'm like, well, here's my deal. I do know the difference between civil and criminal. Thank you very much. Wow. Just wow. But here was my thought process. I was like, okay, so the original tort did not originate in Chillicothe because the original tort was signed by Rod and Kristy Blanchard in Louisiana on their, at their home in September of 2017. Ms. Anderson did not sign her copy of this until December of 2017. So if we're talking about where the tort originated, then I would have to assume that the tort originated in Louisiana. And I get it. It's civil harm, but they're talking about the document being signed and that she originally signed it here in Chillicothe. Well, but her parents signed 3 months before that. So the original tort would have started there. The complaint would have started there. So, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I know legal things. I've studied, but I'm not a lawyer yet. So,
And
they are
judge will
charges.
be very
Counts, Connolly. They are charges. I was charged with these 7 counts and these acts. Yes, absolutely.
okay. So a judge will be very lenient. If you're a pro se defendant, or if you are in a situation where you have to be a pro se defendant just for the time being because of the fact that you've just been served, they will be very kind to you. They won't expect you to just know all the terms and all that kind of thing.
No,
So
no.
they're not going to treat you like a lawyer or be like, they'll be forgiving generally, as long as you are respectful. If you go in and just starts like
and
swearing
generally,
and going
if you choose to do it yourself, they do try to appoint you an attorney that can guide you through the process.
Absolutely.
Because they don't want you doing it by yourself, because that opens them up for an ability for an appeal or a throw out of the case, because they allowed you to do this without legal counsel. So now the emergency protective order, you guys are asking about it. What this basically was is a way to bully me into having to stop talking about them. They basically, it was not like, oh, Fancy is stalking and harassing us on a daily basis and we're in fear for our lives. No, what that restraining order was for was to try and muzzle me. That's the word they used, muzzle me from being able to speak while we were going through this process, and essentially trying to get me to take down all of my content from the internet. So that was what that was about. And that's why I thought it was bogus too, because I haven't talked to these people in over 5 years. I don't contact them. The only thing I've ever done is in January, when we found out about what happened with the Banfield show, I sent them an email with a cease and desist. Now they sent theirs in February to me. I had already sent mine to them a full month beforehand. Yes, I know. Muzzle me like a dog. Yeah, that's exactly how they said it.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap this up now. Guys, listen, we're going to stay across this. Reason we let go of the Gypsy content and Nick content was because there wasn't much legal stuff going on. We watched the whole trial. We went through Nick's appeal. We went and re-looked at his what do you call it? His motion for appeal and his motion for relief, post-conviction relief. We went through all of that stuff. We had lawyers on. We picked through every little piece of it. And then his motion for appeal was denied. And we really didn't get anywhere. In the end, it was all very interesting, but it was not content that was going anywhere for our channel. And then, now this has happened, and it's very interesting to us. We've enjoyed having you on. We enjoyed having you on last time, and this has been great today. We don't like the fact that you're being sued, but it's interesting to us because obviously legal content is what we generally cover on this channel. So we're definitely going to be following this, and
I was just going to
we'll get through it without going back to court.
Right.
But yeah,
I
you go
did
on.
want to address one comment about the fact that you're stating S.L. Connolly again, and I know who you are, and I know you're in here to harass me, but I'm going to answer your question. So your statement was that I should have returned all the documents to the Blanchards when my contract was up. They have all the documents. That's the thing. They've always had all the documents. I was provided copies, and I'm allowed to keep my copies. Beyond that, though, the rest of everything else was procured through the FOIA request. All the crime scene photos, all the everything else, the case files, all of that was not given to me by the Blanchard family. That was provided to me through a FOIA request through the proper authorities. So you can continue on stating that I didn't return to them whatever it is that they think that they deserve back. They have everything, and they always have. And they had all those medical records long before I ever came into the picture. They just pretended they didn't. Oh, I'm sorry, they lied. There you go.
No,
No,
Gypsy
right?
would never.
Not them
Gypsy would
lying.
never lie. Gypsy
No.
would never lie.
They're good
Never.
Southern people, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
Bless
They
their
never lie.
hearts.
Bless their little hearts. Yeah.
Like
And
some
that's the
sugar
thing.
tea.
And here on this channel, we let people have their views. We let people in chat say what it is that they're feeling. We don't have an echo chamber here, and so yes. Sorry, I can't remember what your name is. Was that lady that was talking?
S.L. Connolly.
That's right,
S.L.
S.L. Connolly. That's fine
Yeah.
if you disagree with our guests, as long as you're respectful and you don't call her names and things like that. You're very welcome to disagree. And Fancy, thank you for responding respectfully as well. So that's great. Thank you very much to Fancy from the Good Boys Network for being here. Thank you also to Haiti. It's lovely to see you and welcome you. I've never had you on stream, and I'd love to have you back.
I know, right? It's fun.
Lovely. And Ali, my co-host, my bestie.
Aw.
You're so awesome. If anyone who came in a bit late, at the beginning of the stream, Dali did some dramatic reading of the documents. Make sure you go back and make sure you do. It was fantastic. It was just great. All right, and everyone who's watching.
No disrespect meant to you at all, Fancy.
Oh no,
no, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Anyone who is watching over on Good Wives Network, make sure you give us a sub and a like. And same deal, if you're on my channel, make sure you go over to Good Wives Network and give that stream a like and a sub as well.
Thank you.
Love yous all, and see you guys next time. We'll be watching this and following this. Bye.